Today's rant was spurred by, first of all, let me start by telling you, in about 1 hour, I am going to pick up 4 boys, ages 6 to 8, who will be sleeping at my house tonight on my living room floor on mattresses. I might be crazy. I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing, it's not going to be a quiet evening. And I know that that's hard for some of you to hear because you just wish you could have that experience. And I get it. And you will if you don't let fear get in your way. I had a call this morning. I always talk about things that happen during the week, and usually something spurs a conversation in my head. And it was a call that I had this morning from a client, a new client, who, paid and signed the agreement and are ready to start, and called me, and she's like, "I'm scared. Is this normal?" Yes, it's very normal, which is one of the reasons, and maybe she's feeling it earlier than most. People feel it at different times, which is one of the reasons why we always recommend that it's a really good idea to have an adoption therapist, counselor on your team to work through some of these issues and some of these fears. Let me start by giving you the definition of fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. We're afraid of things that aren't even happening, or we don't know if they're going to happen, but we get so in our head that we make stuff up, and it paralyzes us, and it stops us so many times from reaching our dreams or doing the things that really light us up inside. I know I'm sitting on a huge fear myself. My fear is adopting through foster care. I have been thinking about it since the day I adopted my son through domestic agency adoption. He's now 7.5, and I said, well, maybe I'll adopt a teenager later when Trey's older, but the fact is I have not stopped thinking about a sibling, and frankly, neither has my son, for him since the day I adopted. I'm a single woman, I'm a single parent, and it's stressful at times. And I'm really scared about how that will perhaps disrupt my family unit as it is right now. How will I manage one more? Will it be harder? Will it be scarier? What kinds of issues will this child present? And how will that take me away from my son? I don't know. I have all these things that I worry myself over, and yet I don't even have a child. I don't even know about a child who needs to come into my home right now. I'm not even licensed, for God's sakes. But for the last 7.5 years, I've been paralyzed at even starting the process because of crap that I'm making up in my head. And so we all feel fear at certain times in our lives. And we have, typically when we are experiencing life-altering decisions, right? So I'm sure we've all felt fear when we've gotten let go from a job or changed jobs or left a job, that you haven't liked. Perhaps you felt fear when you were entering a marriage or asking for a divorce. Perhaps you felt fear in a new relationship, or even, talking personally again, even starting to date, going through the dating process. It's kind of scary. Or moving, or imagine moving to another state. I'm sure that these decisions, and I know for me, don't come easily. And they're not things that we just make a decision to do right off the bat and know it'll be great. No, there's a lot of fear around it. And adoption is a life-altering decision and an expensive one, right? So it's interesting that this call that I got this morning, her and her husband are totally on board with the adoption process. And they made a decision to hire us. They went through the process, and now there's fear. Oh my God, are we doing the right thing? Did we choose the right people to work with? Normal. You're normal. And if you're watching this, you're normal. And two things came up for me. First is I was thrilled that she reached out to call me and talk to me, because I can't tell you how many times I've experienced clients, well, I'll speak, clients, of course I won't name names, but who have paid a lot of money to work with us, and then they disappear, leaving us to wonder why or what happened, or, trying to chase them to get answers. And typically it's fear. Typically it's fear that comes into play, which, paralyzes people from moving forward. Perhaps you make up these stories in your head about the type of child you will be stuck with, right? First of all, you're never stuck in a situation that doesn't feel good to you. This is a decision that is yours to make, and it has to feel good for you, which is one of the reasons why a consultant is so imperative to help you work through those situations to make sure it feels right for you, right? And make sure that we are here to point out the things that maybe wouldn't feel right for you, or maybe you missed a detail, and we want to make sure of that. But another reason why people might disappear is that maybe you're trying to get pregnant still on the side, and maybe you do get pregnant and you want to wait to see what happens with that. So we're just going to put our consultant at bay and not move forward with the process. Or maybe you started the process while you were going through fertility and things didn't work out with fertility, but you're feeling a lot more feels than you thought you would, and you just need a moment to take a breath and to grieve that before you can move forward. Or something else may have happened in your life that has kind of taken your focus away. And all those things are fine. And I may challenge that whatever that situation is, fear is still the underlying current. And as far as a consultant goes, just know that we are on your side. We are on your team, here to support you through whatever it is that you're working through. No, we are not a therapist. We are not your therapist, but we can give you those resources if you need, or suggest that maybe that's something that could be helpful for you. If you are pregnant and waiting to hear what happens, let us cheer for you and love on you while you're working through that. A consultant-client relationship is a tight one. And what I realize that there are some people that are just private people and don't really want one more person in their business. I get it. It feels very vulnerable, and a lot of people are in your business during the adoption process. The other thing is with fear, once you commit to take a step and you actually do, it's okay to feel the fear, but just get into it. Dive into it and start taking the steps and doing the do. I find that once you can indulge yourself in the work, then those fears start to dissipate. It's when you're sitting with your own thoughts that's the worst, right? So don't let fear get in your way. Listen, I'm a single mom. I adopted on my own. At the time, I worked in the nonprofit world. I was not a wealthy woman. And people told me a lot of things. They thought I was crazy for doing it on my own. And if I tell you I wasn't scared, I'd be lying. Of course I was scared. And I thought about it for years. And then when my son was put in my arms, I was like, why did I wait so long? What was that all about? You know, starting this business, same thing. I had been wanting to start a business for years. But it finally felt right. And you know what? After adopting my son on my own, I think it gave me the courage to just say, hell, I'm going after whatever I want. Fear or not, the reward on the other side of working through fear is so much greater than letting it paralyze you. So push that fear aside and go after your dreams. Let us be there with you, alongside you, holding your hand to help you through those fears and to help you feel the love of us supporting you. That's all. Fear. It's icky, but we all have it. And we all know that if we work through it, there's sweet reward on the other side. False evidence appearing real sometimes protects us, but other times it just halts us from going after what we want. Don't let that be you. And continue being open and honest with the people who are around you and there to lift you up and support you and walk you through.